thing I like about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
You're 48, man.
And man, you guys like to party?
What? What's that got to do with anything?
Be a lot cooler if you did.
Are you high?
Hey, watch the leather, man.
Okay, you did a lot of drugs in the 70s, and you're still high from them, aren't you?
Tell you, when I get out of this town, man, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna become a lawyer on Wall Street.
I don't get it. Is this a reference to something? Alright. I've had enough of your shit. I'm out of here. Alright? I'm out of here.
Alright.
JPar, and you are listening to the We Promise Nothing show. Today on the show we have Clayton and we have Dabu, and Kathy's probably lurking somewhere, most likely.
Lurking.
My precious.
Lurking. I feel like there's like an interpretive Broadway dance for that. Lurking.
Alright, and today we are talking about Dazed and Confused. That's right, confused? We are going back to school, folks! Back to school. It's a song. Get your pencils, smoke your bong. Back to school, sing along. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Back to school, you and me. Alright.
Enough of that.
You didn't hear for that. You came here for the movie review of Dazed and Confused. Say hello to the crowd, everybody.
I'm certainly dazed and confused after that. God.
I'm alarmed, shocked, and stunned.
I'm afraid.
As you should be. So, folks, I just gotta let you know, it's season 4 of the We Promise Nothing show on YouTube.
Yay!
That's right. Not even.
Only 2 of us were cheering. There's 4 of us in the room. Come on.
I didn't want to overwhelm the microphone.
We need some faculty engagement here.
Well, perhaps you'll hear some faculty engagement when you hear our spoof of Fast Times at Ridgemont High later. But so we're doing season 4 of We Promise Nothing on YouTube. We couldn't do it without you, the fans. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us. Keep subscribing, keep listening. Click that little bell to get notified. And we're doing season 3 of Late Night Ticket on Eastlink, so that's pretty awesome too. We just recorded 6 episodes there, and we introduced Ashley to our crew, and it's going to be very exciting. What do you guys think?
Some of our best material.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is, like when we started doing Late Night Ticket on Eastlink, it was a little bit, trepidatious as for, like, we weren't too good at first. Like, just like, we thought we were going to be better than what we were. We're actually, we weren't great, but I think now we're starting to hit a groove, and I think this new season is just going to be some of our best stuff.
Is there a groove, really? Is there really a groove?
Those episodes were some of the funnest that I've had the chance to record, for sure.
Awesome. So definitely check that out on Eastlink. If you're in Canada, you subscribe to Eastlink. You get it on demand, and not sure what time it's on anymore, but just check your local Eastlink listenings. They keep changing the time. I can't keep up. So we're here to review Dazed and Confused. So yeah, it's been a while. I almost forgot how to do this.
Getting down to the nitty gritty.
How do I do this again?
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and or Confused from 1993, rated R. That's right, directed by Richard Linklater, starring Jason London, Matthew McConaughey.
I like how you skipped over Wiley Wiggins there.
Mila Jovovich, who's Wiley Wiggins? Sean Andrews, Rory Cochrane, Adam Goldberg. People. There's other people. I mean, people know that Ben Affleck's in here as well. Joey Lauren Adams. There is so many people. I mean, I don't even.
Did you mention Mila Jovovich?
I did.
Oh, okay.
There's lots of like people who weren't big when this came out and then became big later.
Yeah. That's true too.
And this is like a movie from our generation too. I freaking love this movie.
This was like the first year that we were in high school. Actually, this was the first year we were in high school.
Yeah, man.
93, summer of 93 came out.
I never get shotgun, man.
Yeah, summer of 93. think
I love this movie. There's just something about this movie. It brings me back to that time. Even though it wasn't 70s, it brings me back to 90s, like being young and hanging out with friends and just. And I think it's just because this movie, like, nothing really happens in this movie, and like by the time it's done, you're not really left with anything. It's just like it was like cool stuff just happened. I think that's just life.
Yeah,
that's just
it's
life,
just a day
man.
in the life, like
that's
a cross section of an American teenager. But like the big takeaway from the end of the movie was that they were going to go to Aerosmith, but it wasn't like it was a part of the plot or anything. It was just. Man, that's out there on the horizon. We're going to Aerosmith. We got Aerosmith tickets, but the rest of the movie doesn't have anything to do with that, you know?
Yeah. Well, throughout Pink, who is or Floyd, that's the character.
Randy Floyd.
Yeah, so they call him Pink because of Pink Floyd. And so his coach, they play for football, and he's trying to get him to sign this waiver saying that they're not going to do any drinking, do any drugs, or while they're playing for the football team or whatever. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, the rest of his friends kind of signed it. They're just like, who cares, right? We're just going to do it anyways. Like, they're not going to stop us from doing it. They need us. We're their football team.
Yeah.
And then, like, Jason London's character is just kind of, like, trying to take a stand in this situation.
Well, he doesn't want to sign it out of principle, and the other guys are like, who cares? Just sign the thing and then just smoke all the drugs and do all the booze anyways.
Right, exactly.
Like, why do you care? It's not a big deal.
Yeah, so for when I saw this, I was in high school, and that's why I think I have really fond memories of this, because it does remind me of that time and hanging out with my friends then.
It reminds me of that time I got socked because I was a junior in high school. Yeah, some of this stuff actually still happened in the 90s when we went to high school, and I suffered a bit of it, that's for sure.
It's a lot of good memories is what you're saying?
Yeah, tons. Just tons.
Well, I seen it a little bit later when I was past that initiation. I think I was like a couple years later after it came out, I might have seen it.
Oh, I was right there.
Yeah.
Front and center.
As it was happening.
And Dabu, what about for you when you first saw this movie?
You know what? I don't think
How it affects you?
I didn't really grow up with it, though. That's the thing. I remember seeing this later on in my years and looking back and realizing, wow, I'm glad a lot of that I didn't go through. I'm not saying I had the greatest of high school experiences either, but it was one of those things where that movie brought back a lot of these weird vibes. Vibes is the right word for me, because I feel... It's not to say these were exact memories that I went through myself, but a lot of this teen angst moments that this whole movie's all about, it's all built on those teen experiences. That's what I loved about it. But they were all done in such a way that each scene was unique to themselves, and each character had its own weight. Matthew McConaughey's character really doesn't carry much weight throughout this entire movie when you think hard on it, but he's easily one of the more memorable ones. Landon's character, you mentioned Pink. Pink is almost like the moral compass. He's doing things the right way because he feels he should. He was told to do things always the right way. I don't know. These are the characters I always thought were kind of cool to watch. They made for odd viewing on a movie, though, because it carries the movie in a weird direction. So I think that's why this movie, I really was dazed and confused every time I'd watch it.
I don't know. The mood really works in a lot of places because they show... People in that movie are in all different positions of high school. So, like Mitch, Wiley Wiggins, he's the freshman there, and he's just coming into high school. Yeah. And he's afraid of all the big guys. He's afraid of the older guys, the seniors, right? And he thinks, oh man, he's looking up to the seniors like, man, these seniors, they got it all. But the seniors themselves, when they start to focus the camera on them, are thinking about their futures too. They're thinking about what they're going to do after high school, and they're scared too. But they have a whole different pot of worries.
Except for Matthew McConaughey's character. He's still standing there.
He's just working for the city, man. Just keep a little change in his pocket. Oh, man. Yeah,
and you're absolutely right. It does cover a lot of, the kid going into high school, worried to get initiated over the summer from the seniors. And exactly, the seniors graduating, it covers them as well. And then there's also, grade 10, it covers all aspects of So you see, and then there's the jocks, there's the nerds,
There's the stoners.
definitely the stoners.
Well, they're all stoners.
yeah. It's the 70s. They're all stoners.
Yeah.
And they all listen to Kiss apparently, and
Yeah. Weirdly.
and let's talk about the music.
Oh, that soundtrack is awesome. Like I actually had that soundtrack. I think I still have it kicking around somewhere. There's all kinds of good stuff on there, like Cherry Bomb and what's the other one?
Just a lot of classic 70s stuff.
Yeah.
That I have on my playlist because I actually discovered because of this
Pretty
movie.
sure that song Lowrider, like had a massive revival because of that movie.
Well,
like,
they use
just
it,
because of
they
that
also
movie.
use that in Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, I know, but Cheech and Chong was like the 80s, early 80s. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like
70s, I think.
Well, 70s, even still.
I think it was even reused in Gone in 60 Seconds at a later time.
Yeah, but that movie and a bunch of the songs on that had a huge resurgence due to that movie.
Most
that
definitely.
movie
I
was
do
a
agree with that.
massive thing. Like when
It
that
was
came out.
huge.
Yeah.
Big time. Kathy, when do you remember seeing this?
And I was just going into college, I think. I was just trying to think. It was around college for me. So watching it, it was just like, I didn't have really. I had some of those experiences, not all clearly, but I loved it from the beginning. Like you mentioned, like it described like the teenager angst and everything like that. No, it is a great movie overall.
It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. Like the characters are memorable. It's very, very quotable.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's the high school experience I wish I had. You know what I mean?
It's kind of true.
I saw
Yeah.
it when it was still when everything was still too raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm fucking going through this right now. I'm suffering through this, and and later on down the line, I hope it gets better. Oh, so that's what I have to look forward to. I get to be scared of going to college. Dodge that bullet.
All right, so
Have you guys ever gone through your high school years where you had almost characters in your real life that were one of each from the movie itself? Like, did you have someone who was like a Matthew McConaughey, another one who was...
Oh, I think everybody in high school has.
Oh, yeah,
definitely.
You as soon as you see that movie, you pick out a guy, you remember a person, a guy or a girl who was like, oh yeah, that's who that was. I remember that guy. That's
I think I even knew an air raid person, you know, like one that would
Air
be like,
raid! Oh,
one that was just thinking that they were on top of the world and everyone bowed to them. I didn't pay attention to her, but she existed, you know.
Did you get...
bitches!
Was it Parker Posey?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
her
was,
name.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a bitch.
What a bitch, huh? She's also in the Netflix series, the sci-fi one, the revamped Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
god, she's
Oh,
she's such
yeah.
a bitch in that
Yeah.
show. Oh my god. So,
They-
yeah, so they
again-
redid Lost in Space and they put it on Netflix, and she plays the evil doctor.
Yeah, the
Yes.
doctor.
Yeah, and she's just
Evil doctor.
terrible. She's awful.
doctor.
You just want to see like a spaceship land on her, you know, or like the robot like crush her head or something. She's terrible. It's like air raid this.
Air raids!
If that's her one memorable role, though, before turning up, you know, without much fanfare in a direct-to-Netflix TV series later on, like...
All right, so and then there's Mila Jovovich, who went on to do Resident Evil, and of course Ben Affleck. He plays one of the
second worst Batman. Oh no, the worst Batman, actually, I think. Right?
Well, George Clooney. I mean,
His is hard to beat.
George Clooney's was pretty bad. At least like
No,
Ben
George,
Affleck tried.
apparently George Clooney's is like the second worst Batman. And
Ben Affleck's the
Ben
worst.
Affleck's is the worst.
I'm gonna say Ben Affleck's the second worst because at least Ben Affleck tried at one point. Like George Clooney's like, I'm just gonna play myself. It's like I'm handsome. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
get here,
handsome.
George
I'm handsome,
Clooney.
and it's 1998.
Yeah.
There's nipples on my suit. Like, yeah,
Bat
okay.
nipples.
Bat nipples.
All right, let's get back to Dazed and Confused.
Funny that years later, that's still what I pulled away from that movie. Bat nipples.
So now every time you think of like Ben Affleck trying to paddle that little blonde-haired brat there in this movie, just think of him as being like Batman. Oh, God, I hate that kid. Oh, let's talk about that fucking little shit for a bit.
Who?
That Carl kid. They just want to schmuck him upside the head.
Carl.
I love this movie, but I'm gonna say I think I know what my least favorite
Carl,
is, and it's that fucking kid, man. He never gets paddled, And I'm just like, come on, just get him. So the fact that he actually gets away kind of bothers me in the movie because he's such a little bastard. Like, I just want to smack him and initiate him myself. You know?
But he never really stands out either, you know? Like, he's destined to go through his life as just kind of a middleman. You were there, but you weren't the star of the show kind of thing. Like Parker Posey, maybe. You know.
Well, she probably has a big
I'm
role.
going to be on a direct-to-Netflix movie later on in my life.
It's not a movie, it's a series. Come on.
Yeah, a TV series, and for some reason she's old and sounds like Barbara Stanwyck.
Barbara Stanwyck, I'm going to be on a Netflix. You ever watch the Netflix? I got a TV show on there.
On the YouTube. This all used to be Apple.
This is not how people talked in the 70s, yo.
There's one thing I remember taking away from this movie when I would occasionally rewatch it. It reminded me of Chasing Amy, and I think because of what's her name, Joey Lauren Adams.
Let's not also forget that Jason London's. Oh, never mind. That's in Mallrats. Never mind. Jason London's brother is in Mallrats.
Right.
But sorry, I thought there was a connection, but brain went.
Isn't Chasing Amy
both done by Kevin Smith?
That's part of that story arc.
Sorry, I was thinking it was the same movie, but it's not.
Chasing Amy, I saw a very long time ago, and I don't recall a whole bunch about it.
So I think Chasing Amy was a lead up to Mallrats.
She was a lesbian, and there was a bunch of guys chasing her or something.
Like, it was Ben
guys
Affleck.
Were trying to get with her, but she was like
Ben Affleck and Jason Lee are in it, and they're roommates. And Ben Affleck falls in love with her, and she's lesbian, or she's actually bi. Right. But anyways, it's a good movie. Everyone should... that's actually probably one of Kevin Smith's better written ones.
Chasing Amy is one of the movies of his that I actually really would like to rewatch and just have not gotten a chance to. And I'll tell you, Clerks, for me, didn't age particularly well.
I like the first Clerks, but I find the second one's not as good on rewatch.
Yeah.
Okay, well... I thought we were talking about Dazed and Confused.
We are.
Right. We are.
But you mentioned...
It's going a little bit.
You mentioned this, so now we're talking about Kevin Smith
movies. New season, we promise nothing. We're promising nothing.
We promise not to...
Things are going organically.
I just honestly really enjoyed
We promise to stay on track, but we promise nothing.
I'm trying to stay on track.
Alright, so let's get back to Dazed and Confused. And why don't you guys give it, like, out of 5 rating this time? And let's not get too much into your spoilers because we're going to save that for the best and the worst. Go ahead, Clayton.
I'll let you guys go.
I'm going to give it a 4.
A 4 out of 5?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. Just because it captured a really specific mood that that in the early 90s when I was going to high school, I feel was really coming back around again.
70s, yeah.
It took, like... When we were in high school in the early 90s, when we first got into high school, the 70s, like bell bottoms and stuff were coming back around again. And then this movie hit and it just like reinforced it.
Yeah.
So this movie fed that culture and that culture birthed this movie. So it really fit at the time.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I also watched Animal House, which was made in the 70s and it takes place in the early 60s. So it's just, there's something funny how retro becomes cool again.
Mm-hmm. It always comes back around, yeah.
So 4 and 4 out of 5, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, did you want to do a rating out of 5?
Sure. I give it like a 4.5. Only because like it always makes me feel good. You know, it doesn't get old for me. I can watch it another 100 times and I'll never get sick of it. It just has a great feel. I love the characters, even the annoying ones. It just... Yeah, basically, it's like, I wish that was my experience. And then, you know, I could pretend and imagine.
I do relate to a lot of the characters, though. So in some ways, I do feel like it was a little bit my experience because I did watch at the same time being in high school.
I think that's what everybody pulls out of it, though. They see a little bit of themselves.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The whole movie is really relatable. I don't think you can call it 4.5 though. That's too digital. You have to be like 4.5 in those big 70s bubble letters there. You know, 4.5 out of 5, not 4.5 out of 5.
You're talking about like 4 and 1.5. Like
yeah,
a fraction
4 and 1/2
the
yeah.
decimal.
And 4 and 1/2. Okay,
yeah.
4.5 stars
A
then.
little more 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
So
definitely. and I stand.
So you give it 4 out of 5 McConaughey mustaches?
Yeah.
You give it
4.5 McConaughey mustache.
4.5.
4 and 1.
He let it grow a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of a goat.
Yeah, you got one side of the stash going, the other side is still growing.
And how many McConaughey mustaches do you give this?
I can give it no more than 4 myself. 4 mustaches out of 5. A lot. You know what it is? This movie truly just oozes personality. You guys have kind of all said it in your own way. We all take something out of it. I think we all went through high school in different ways, obviously, and each of us had different experiences. Whether they were worth reliving or not is not the question, but this movie loves to get us to delve back into those moments, good and bad. I mean, his characters like Ben Affleck, we may not have had someone who's chasing after us with a paddle and all,
O'Bannon?
but there might have been someone back in the day who might have actually reminded of such said character,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what I love about this one, is that each of the actors brought their own personality, and the characters they also played were oozing personality. So it was a nice blend of everything, and each of them kind of played off of each other's roles quite nicely. And I think the other thing was the soundtrack. You guys brought up the music. I think that's what always kept me in that moment. The music would constantly bring me back into the moment, even if I felt for a fraction of a moment I was lost.
And this was when like rock was still rocking and awesome, like in the 90s, before whatever music nowadays took over. Yeah.
Well,
whatever you consider nowadays music.
Dubstep.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Rock was a way of life in its own right too, right? Because it was just, like you said, it was changing the times in its own way. So I feel maybe this movie was following down its path too.
We were definitely feeling nostalgic in the 90s for a 70s feel, and yeah.
I'm feeling it right now, actually.
Yeah, me too. It's a great movie, and I'm gonna replicate what Kathy said. It just feels good. Like, I remember I was feeling sick, and I put this movie on one time, and I was like, yeah. I was just
Dazed and Confused can cure cancer.
not necessarily that far, but it just made me feel good. It didn't make me feel like, it didn't cure me of my cold or anything. But it just made me feel good, and just reminded me of a simpler time. Being young, hanging out with friends, like, partying being, and, getting with girls being the only thing on my mind, as opposed to having to worry about the stresses of average day life that I do now.
See, that's what it reminds you of now. That's what it reminds me of now, too. But when I first watched this movie, that's not what it reminded me of. It made me think that high school is always going to be the same. No matter the generation, no matter the coat of paint, some things will change, but high school will be the same no matter what generation you're in high school.
But now, is it all the same though?
Well, yeah,
I think it's different now.
Well,
I'm not.
I would think the generations have quite changed, especially now that the students are no longer even writing by hand; everything's typed on.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, I'm saying that the same things, the same struggles are always there. The struggle to get the girl to fit in, all of that stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm in high school in 1993, 1994, watching this movie, seeing that in 1976, high school was the same thing with a different. The clothes were different, the cars were different, the music was different, but the experience was essentially the same. The core experience is there. That's why I think you can keep, no matter how old you are, you can actually keep going back. You can keep watching this movie, and new generations can actually watch this movie and still relate to something.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I think that's why when I bring back those characters and their personalities, their personalities themselves were kind of timeless. Whether if they were back in the 70s or if they were, in today's time, they would have those similar moments. You're right.
All right, so like I said, it brings me back to a good feeling, and you know what? It's a new season. It's a new season, guys. It's a new season.
It's a new season.
I'm feeling generous. The leaves are falling. When I watch this movie, it just makes me feel good. It brings me back to a good time. I'm giving it a 5, guys.
What?
Uh-oh. Something's wrong with JPar, guys. He's giving a perfect score.
Let the internet burn down. I gave another movie a 5-star. I
didn't even give it a 5.
I know. I'm feeling froggy. It's a new season.
I'm feeling froggy.
I'm feeling the air. It's changing. You know what I mean? The winds of change are here, and we just gotta love and live, man. So I'm giving it 5 McConaughey mustaches out of 5. Wow. So just for the record, it's because it's out of McConaughey mustaches, it's not the same as a star. So just kidding. 5 out of 5.
Actually, 5 stars.
Just kidding. 5 out of 5. Honestly, I didn't want to be that generous, but and maybe I shouldn't be. But it does give me good feelings, this movie, and it just makes me feel good. So let's get into the best of the worst. Let's really dig into this movie, what we really like, and what we really, really, really watch the Leatherman.
Yeah.
Don't like about this movie.
You never hear anybody really say anything about
Well, then why
this
isn't it 5 stars for you guys? Because maybe I should give it 4.5. So I have
subject
something.
matter, you know what I mean? Like, it's not my favorite type of movie to watch, but
Okay.
it is still an awesome movie, you know what I mean? It's not
It's not generally my kind of favorite movie to watch, but I think because you can watch it and there's no real circumstances in it,
Yeah.
you know you can go in having a good time, and you don't have to really worry about what happens at the end. Nobody dies. Nobody really gets hurt really badly. It's just life goes on, and it's like it's the next stage in life.
Yeah,
comes
that's the
about.
thing, though. It's like a cross section. It's okay. Anyways, we're gonna get into best and worst. So
Yeah.
All right. So who's going first?
You.
Oh, I'm okay. Well,
Dang, man.
my best for this movie is actually any scene that Rory Cochrane's in. Slater was always my favorite.
Oh, he's
character in
so
this
funny.
movie. This guy's he's such the typical stoner, and you guys are talking about you're talking about one person that you could pick out that reminds you of one of the characters.
Yes.
I could pick out about a dozen.
Yeah,
seriously.
That was there was lots of those guys in high school for sure.
Lots of those guys
For sure.
and all funny in that kind of burnt out way.
Yeah.
Where they're just they're all about what's right in front of them and having a good time. And when they get serious, it's usually because they're concerned about something like stepping in
Like
the
getting
way
shotgun?
something in the way of their immediate happiness.
Right, right,
They're
right.
just taking it a day at a time. So any scene with him is just funny to
He's
watch
hilarious.
because he's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And I actually expected, out of all the people in this movie, I thought Rory Cochrane would end up with a bigger career. I'm not familiar with a lot of his stuff, but I do know that he was in A Scanner Darkly a couple of years later with...
He's in Argo, Empire Records, Scanner
Empire
Darkly.
Records, yeah, Scanner Darkly was the only thing that I really saw him in later on, though, and that he played an actual drug addict in that movie too, and he was addicted to a fictional drug actually, but he was still. It wasn't as funny. But anyways, Cochrane's character and all the scenes and the lines that they wrote for him are just awesome.
Yeah, hilarious.
Because he is the stereotypical stoner, yeah. And for a worst part, I don't really know that there's a worst part. I mean, why
isn't it a 5, Clayton?
Nobody, well, like I said, subject matter, but I've never actually heard anybody say, you know what movie I hate? Dazed and Confused. God, that movie sucks. You know what I mean? Nobody can really seem to pick away at
So
that.
you're clarifying, you don't have a worst because it's not your standard kind of movie.
Even the worst complaint about this movie would be still something that is actually half decent. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't particularly care for Ben Affleck as O'Banion. I want to punch that guy in the face. Every day of my life, somebody says O'Banion. Oh, really? Yeah, I just want to hit him.
He does get his at the end.
He does, but he did, to his credit, he makes a better jerk than he does a Bruce Wayne. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Well, I think what you get out of it is that, O'Banion's just one of those guys that everyone knows, an asshole, you know what I mean? They just kind of put up with him, and then something really bad happens, and he spazzes out on everyone, and everyone, as soon as he leaves, everyone's like, "What a dickhead!" You know, they're like, "What an asshole!" Even though you hear them saying it in the background as
saying it to each other. Yeah, he just gets in his car and peels out from the billiards club there.
Yeah, because he almost runs over Floyd.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy, do you want to do your best and worst?
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Clayton for some of the best parts are with Slater's song. You know what I mean? You gotta love that guy, but that's not the best.
Never get shotgun, man.
Yeah, it just I think my favorite is probably the tone of the movie, quite honestly, and the music. Just the way the movie feels overall is just basically my favorite part of the movie. If I had to choose something that I didn't like about the movie, I find the end...
Air raid, bitches!
Well, that annoys the heck out of me. I just want to, punch her in the face. However, I think it almost felt like there's a couple of scenes at the end that kind of dragged on longer than it should. Mm. And it just kind of felt like there's action, and then just kind of went for too long, I think. I don't know. It ended... The movie was fantastic, and then it ended soft for me. I don't know. Like, it tied up all the ends and everything.
Yeah.
It felt weird. And
Once
it
the beer
lost,
ran out at the party.
You know, right.
Exactly.
Right. You know, when things were winding down or whatever, that part felt a little too long. That could have shortened it a bit. They could have added more to the day.
It felt authentic.
It did.
Is what it felt.
And I think maybe that's why I was sad and I felt I didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was.
That's what I like about it. That like nothing really gets resolved.
No.
Like
Yeah.
life just goes on.
In
These
the
are just
grand
everyday
scheme of
choices
things.
in these kids,
Yeah.
these young people's lives.
But like
Yeah.
the party, like the
Like,
beer, they tap the beer keg, it runs out, right? And then the music slows down. Everybody's
Yeah.
drunk. They're all wandering back to their cars.
So it actually
driving
felt
home.
authentic. It did.
Tuesday's gone
Yeah.
with the wind.
It felt authentic.
You know, it
My
did. It did.
baby's gone
Yeah, well, maybe that's
with the wind.
that's how it felt.
It's
but
too
it was-
authentic.
I think
You
maybe
get done
that's
watching
what
the
it
movie
is.
and you have a hangover. Oh god! Why did
Yeah,
I
you know,
watch
you
that
can almost
movie?
feel their hangover. You can feel
Somebody
the
hand-
fatigue.
Somebody
you can
hands
feel,
you Aerosmith tickets. Here you go. Wait, what?
You know,
I
and
just
then it's
watched
like
the movie.
I gotta like jump in a car now. You know, okay.
Drive into the sun.
First of
Yeah.
all, you gotta tell off your coach, though.
Yes, exactly.
I may play ball this year, but I will never sign that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Taboo.
Well,
Best and worst.
there's so much good out of this one. Well, for me, if I pick out of my first comment, which was the personalities that really shone through this, I really feel like the cast was one of the key elements that made this movie work. If it wasn't for just the actors themselves chosen for their roles, they each brought something really unique to each of their roles, and I think that's what made this movie the best. Mm-hmm. The music and all that just added to it. You know, like all of the scenes worked well. That was just perfect writing. But at the end of the day, it was the fact that each of their casted characters, the actors behind them, were just well chosen. So that, to me, that was my favorite part. Whether I hate Ben Affleck's role or not is a different matter. But that's leading into my next comment. My least favorite aspect was Ben's character himself. He was just, I felt like he was like the best example of what we hated out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
That one dickhead that had to prove that he could be the biggest ass on the planet, whether you wanted him to be or not. But it also led into one of my other favorite scenes, which was his ass getting paddled, so to speak. And he had to leave. Didn't he get his ass whooped by his own paddle?
No.
Did he not? No?
The paint dumped on him.
Yeah, I got the paint.
Oh, that's right. He just got
secretly,
ridiculed.
though,
That's what it was.
I imagine that O'Banion ended up working at his dad's carpet store for the rest
a
of
guy.
his life, and that he's a complete disappointment, and he still wears brown pants.
Yeah.
I just
Hasn't done well for himself.
that's
and
where I
he's
put
just,
him.
he's stuck in some dead-end job somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, my favorite had to be the casting. My least favorite definitely had to be Ben's role. His character was despicable, completely.
Yeah, he was a jerk.
Complete jerk.
Okay, is that your best and worst?
Yes.
Okay. My best is definitely the feel of the movie. I can't even. It's hard to pick like one thing. That you guys said so many good things. The casting is great. The music choice was great. The soundtrack. I'm gonna say that, and you said Slater, which is great as well. I think I'm gonna go more with the soundtrack. But it's all very good. Everything blends to this, and it's just the feel of the movie. It has a good feeling from beginning to end. Nothing really happens. Nothing really gets resolved. It's great. Life goes on, and you just get to sit back and have a good time. It's just the feel of the movie. I think if you have fond memories with the movie, you'll probably feel the same way. And the music definitely really helps. That's definitely one of its strong suits. The soundtrack. Everyone knows that soundtrack. Whoever grew up during this time. During the time it came out, I mean. And whoever's just familiar with old 70s tunes will definitely love that soundtrack as well. Some of the best 70s songs, in my opinion. But now, the worst, and that's just gotta be, what's that little fucking blonde shit's name?
Carl.
Carl, yeah. You guys don't like O'Banion. I agree. He's a dickhead, but at least he gets his. But that little Carl shit, oh my god. I almost wish he just caught him for 1 second and gave him one lick of the paddle there at least. He's such a little bastard. Like, he tells his they're at the party, and his friend's like scoring with a girl, right? He's like, oh, I have my hand halfway up her shirt, feeling her boobs. Like, oh, we're going to be dealing with a lot older girls when we get to high school. Like, we're big men now. It's like, shut up, you blonde fuck. Like, his friend should have just, like, punched him in the face and went back to feeling up those boobs. You know what I mean? Like, why is he listening to this little blonde-haired bastard? Like, fuck him. Kick him in the nuts.
I like the teacher, the high school teacher there. Man, it's like our sergeant told us before we went in.
Yeah.
50 of you leave out on a mission. 25 of you ain't coming back. That, like,
It's like he was fresh out of the war.
I don't know what that just.
Anyways, that Carl kid, he gets lucky twice. He doesn't get it twice.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Roadrunner at that point. You just want to see him get it at that point. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's right too. I was thinking of the little fat kid with the brown hair. You're talking about the skinny blonde kid.
The chubby kid was the one who was like actually macking. He was actually getting with that girl. And why is he listening to that blonde-haired shit to leave? Like, fuck him. He should be staying there. I don't care what you idiots are doing.
Yeah, I'm good here. I'm
good. My hand is in a good spot right now. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know. His stupid pants too. I just want to slap him upside the head. You know. And Mitch ends up being the cool one out of the.
He took his
the
beats,
freshman.
though.
And that's why he was the cool one, right? Because exactly he took his beats. So after that, Jason London's character invited him to come out because he's like, you know what, you felt bad for him, I guess, and then. I guess it also happened to him, and then you kind of get the idea that it was Matthew McConaughey is the one who took him out for beers after when he got initiated. You kind of get that feeling, right? He's like, oh, I had some guys who they beat your ass, but then they take you out for a couple beers. So that's what he did, because clearly the other guys weren't going to do it for Mitch.
No.
Like, O'Banion was just a fucking dickhead about it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get your friend Carl and his mother, or something like that, right?
O'Banion wanted to murder the freshmen.
I know.
Like, he wanted to grind them up and throw them in Hell's Kitchen in a bathtub.
Yeah, and like, why,
he wanted
right?
to murder them. Like, it was like over the top.
So that's why like Floyd's approach was much better. It's like, okay, we initiated you in, like, your beats are done.
You're still
now
a human
cool.
being.
Now you're cool, right? Now we're gonna bring you out for beer.
It's funny that what Dave said though about the casting, about how the casting was really important. Because I was thinking to myself, nah, the casting's not really. They could have stuck anybody in there. And then I imagined James Vanderbeek as Fink. I was like, yeah, there's a 20-year-old guy playing a teenager for 5 years. Let's get some Vanderbeek in here. I don't want to wait. God, I hate. I knew people who like cried when that show ended, and I was like, "You're a guy."
Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, you're a guy. Why are you watching Dawson's Creek?
Man, we would have drowned you in the creek.
Oh Jesus!
Dawson's
Game of
Creek.
Thrones take on.
No, that's what they say in Jay and Silent Bob. That's what he says to Jason Big when they're like. He's like, you couldn't, what is, I don't remember, he says something like, I would have drowned you in the creek, or something like, you couldn't handle being on the creek, or something like that. Because he's like arguing with Jason Biggs and Jay and Silent Bob, because they're like supposed to be playing Jay and Silent Bob in the movie.
See, I don't know if I can honestly admit, though, that they
Back
can
to Kevin
just,
Smith.
just anyone for any of these
No,
roles.
that's what I was thinking, and then I imagined
hard.
Vanderbeek, and that was enough to like turn me off, and I was like, no, we'll just stick. The original cast is good.
Yeah, the original cast is great.
I will say this: actually, both you and Kathy made an interesting comment, which was the same comment of saying that you had a good feeling at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
My problem with that is exactly not that I don't want to feel good at the end of a movie, but I'm hoping to say that at the end of a movie I got something great out of it. And when I rewatch this movie, there's nothing great about it,
and that's why.
I know, but that's why it doesn't quite get that extra point to get a full 5 out of 5 out of me.
Sure.
I don't mind the feeling it gives me, but it's not quite satisfying enough. You know, it's exactly the way you guys say it. It's just life, right? You leave, everyone's moving on, they've left high school, they're about to move in and live their lives, right? Well, good or bad, that's just life. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I'll take that message as much as you want, but that's not a great message.
Sure it is.
Life will fuck you over, and life will give you fucking...
Well, that's...
I know.
That's why I like it, because it's simple. It's like I said, nothing really substantial happens and nothing really gets resolved. It's just the next step.
I always wanted to know how the Aerosmith concert turned out.
Oh, you're right. Maybe that's why I didn't get the point.
And I'd like maybe a spin-off movie talking about the drunk kid who fell out of the moon tower and hit his head on every round on the way down.
That didn't actually happen. That's just Slater trying to scare the freshmen, that's all.
Fucking Catalina wine.
How many beer have you had? You're so dead, man.
So dead.
You're so dead.
Yeah. He had smacking his head on every run.
He only had one beer. How many beer did you have?
I don't know, 5 or 6. Man, you're so dead. You're so dead.
What was that?
Wow, and he's hanging off the rungs there.
Look it out there. Just imagine how many people are fucking.
Just going at it. Mila Jovovich lighting up her lighter
and then like mesmerized by it.
She's like entranced by this. Like she's watching it go back and forth. Like,
and what's her song? She's like playing a song on her guitar.
Watch them fly.
Watch them fly.
And then that's it. That's like the whole song.
It's in one line.
There's so many good points to pick from that movie.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
But that to me, those are the personalities shining in each little moment, right? It's not to say that they were great, groundbreaking moments and not Academy Award winning moments. Some might have been, but these were all like very young actors showing what they were capable of, and they clearly went on to do much better things. Roles, most of them.
Slater's explanation about how who is it?
About the dollar bills?
About the dollar bill, yeah. And every day, Martha Washington had a big fat bull waiting for him when he got home.
She was a hip lady.
Oh my god. That's so laughable.
Quotable, so watchable. Good, so good. We don't got too much time. Let's talk about a couple scenes. One in particular I'm thinking about is what's the nerd that tries to pick a fight with
he wants to dance?
Adam Goldberg.
Adam Goldberg's character, yeah. Clint. With Clint. What's your stance on that one?
Was it Clint? I thought it was...
No, it was Clint. Yeah. He's like, I've only came here to do two things. Drink beer and kick ass. Looks like we're out of beer.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really take a whole lot from that scene.
No?
I thought, like... I didn't know what Adam Goldberg was trying to do there, really.
He was pissed off.
He was just frustrated because he
tired of being bullied, and he thought, like, it's the end of the year, and I'm going to do something about this and make a decision with my life instead of always kind of perpetuating, just thinking about stuff, In
other words, instead of just letting it happen, he takes the bull by the reins kind of thing and takes the situation.
Well, he still gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, that guy.
And thankfully, if it wasn't for Matthew McConaughey and Jason London, they seem to be the good guys of the group who help everybody, right? If it wasn't for them to break it up, like...
Well, he even called it that, as soon as they fought, he goes, like, that the flock will come in and, like, it'll only last for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, but he thought it was going to happen a lot sooner before he got labeled a few times.
Yeah.
What was his name's character? It was,
I'm trying to remember.
He had, like,
I remember the redheaded girl.
Yeah, so what about Matthew McConaughey hitting on the redhead?
Oh, yeah.
Red's my favorite color, man.
You should dump these losers and come with me. Like,
I like them redhead. Yes, I do.
And then her pal Tony is like, oh my god, what a scumbag. She's like, oh, he was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, wasn't his name Tony?
Tony.
The guy that wants to dance?
Anthony Rapp. No.
Oh, no.
Adam Goldberg was Mike.
Mike. Okay, yeah.
Mike and Tony.
Mike and Tony.
And Cynthia, I want to say her name was.
Hey, Marissa Ribisi?
Ribisi. Cynthia. Yeah,
that's her. Big time. Alright, so what about when they're initiating the girls compared to their initiating the guys?
Gross. Mustard and ketchup on you on the hot pavement.
And then they make them like
oh, that's right.
Propose to like the seniors.
Can you
what would you do for me? Anything you want. Imagine the possibilities.
And he's the only guy who says anything like that. That was like the most clever line in the entire movie. Imagine the possibilities. Like,
open your mouth.
Yeah. Smell like a donut.
Anyways, it's a really, really, really fun movie, and if you've never had a chance to see this, you really should. If you've grown up in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, I think you would just really appreciate this movie. Yeah, you probably still appreciate it now.
Or if you've had a really bad high school childhood life, don't bother watching this.
or watch it and pretend this is your high school life. You can be whoever you want.
If you were homeschooled and you need a pretty good idea of how things run in the outside world,
there you go.
Here you go.
If you live the secluded life and you don't know what people are like, watch this and learn how to be a stoner or a bully.
Raised by bears in Alaska, learn how to talk to people.
Yeah. If you've been living an Amish life this whole time and you've only now just seen...
You're just breaking into 21st century life.
We just lost our only Amish subscriber.
We had an Amish
and our 2 subscribers from Alaska.
Damn.
Well, no, because now they have the movie and now they have everything they'll
They just got it last year
to survive in life. Like if you open up a copy of that book, The Secret, there's a DVD of Dazed and Confused inside. This is the secret. This is how you break into society. How to make friends and influence people? Dazed and Confused.
You know?
Sun Tzu's Art of War. Dazed and Confused.
Sounds like
Wow. An interesting way to view Art of
Well,
War.
Sun Tzu would be on VHS because it's older, right?
You don't know how to solve your conflict with another country. Watch this movie.
Dazed and Confused.
I can see Kim Jong-un watching this
Oh.
in a theater on his own and be like, maybe they're not so bad.
Yeah.
all right, guys. We could talk about this movie a heck of a lot longer, but we're running out of time. So yeah, let us know what you think about Dazed and Confused, and if you saw when you're younger or older, or how it affected you, and what about that soundtrack? Damn, it's good. So take a listen to that, if anything, if not going to see the movie. Yeah, so check us out. We're on Eastlink Late Night Ticket. Season 3 is about to kick off, and this is Season 4, so check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, support us. We got merch coming, guys. Yeah, it's all coming together. And, yeah, give us a big old like on Facebook. We like when you do that. And you follow the conversation on Twitter at We Promise Nothing and drop the G. We Promise Nothing.
Wait there. You know, why did I get the idea actually that Dazed and Confused had a sequel that was like direct to video? Like,
Nah.
are you sure?
Just pretend it
That's
never
not
happened.
even. Yeah, it did. It did
No.
happen though, didn't
Last-
it?
No, it did not.
Blasphemy. Don't
You
say that.
lied. That's
No, I'm just
that's not
saying,
true.
I don't recall ever
I don't
seeing-
recall it.
I don't
but
think you made
just-
that. I think
when
you just
I
made that up.
visualize it, I'm like, that could have happened.
It would have been bad.
Oh, it definitely.
I'm glad
Like I
it's-
said,
I'm glad it's a one shot.
Direct to video, yeah. No sequel for this movie, thank
Okay.
God.
It was like
Wow.
that 80s show that didn't work.
Oh man, that did not pan
No,
out. Oh
no.
man, everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, the '70s show's a hit. Let's do the '80s."
Wah, wah, wah.
All right, so if you like Dazed or Confused, leave a comment below. If you disagree with anything we said, then yeah, also let us know. But as always,
a lot of segues here.
as always, we promise nothing.
Check you later.
Check you later, man.
Check you later, Slater. You're such a dork. Check you later.
All right.
Girls don't want to hear that.
Check
Girls
you
don't want to
later.
hear nothing.
All right,
Quality over quantity, man, and I can't wait till I get to college.
See you guys.